these ways that you make people feel really good. That's the exercise.
I love hearing you guys talk about that.
Even though we had to make some compromises, we're getting some good wins in.
I can say this thing to Ingrid that I'm upset about, and I can say it in a way that is kind, compassionate, and caring.
10 years from now, you guys are still going to be friends. I mean, that's the thing that matters. Whatever path New Savant goes on, you guys will handle it together. Hi, I'm Jim Fielding. Welcome to Ask for an Answer. Hello, all you kind, curious, and talented human beings. It is time for another episode of Ask for an Answer with Jim Fielding. This is a really special episode. Number one, it's one of our Pride Season 2026 episodes, and I'm thrilled to have representatives of the community on today, but also it's repeat guests from Season 1. And I will say, back by popular demand, because the comments on that first episode were so big. On all platforms, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, people loved our first episode together that we recorded in New York. So welcome back, Ingrid Nilsen and Erica Anderson. Welcome,
Thank you for having us. And happy Pride.
Happy Pride. I can't believe it's been over a year since we did the first one. And here we are again. We're doing it differently. We're obviously virtual. We might have some little pet guests join on both ends. We don't know. I miss being in studio, and I wanted to go back and do more in studio, but you guys can do studio in Season 3. You're going to be like perma guests. You're going to be like, there's always something going on. So My goals for today for our audience, first off, I want to hear the update on everything you guys have been working on. Of course, we'll sprinkle in Pride stuff, but so much of it last time we talked about your incredible company, the New Savant, and the path you were on. And so much has changed in the last year, good, bad, and different. I mean, why don't you bring us up to speed? What you're doing, what your focus is. It'll be fascinating.
Since we last saw you, we had a really busy end of 2025 and entering into 2026, we just knew we needed to make changes. I feel like we really became focused on these numerical goals, and we were starting to lose the je ne sais quoi behind what we were doing. And we really wanted to get back to having fun and getting our voice, not back, but bringing it into this new chapter that we're currently in. And so the first thing that we did was we actually lowered our prices a couple months ago, which was a big deal. Erica and I went through our COGS and our numbers multiple times, and we just wanted to do something for our community because they've showed up so much for us. And so we were reevaluating, all of the prices, and we thought, would it be possible to actually lower our prices now that we've completely transitioned to outsourcing our manufacturing and fulfillment? Are there any efficiencies where we can do this? So that was really the first big change. And right now we're in the middle of a complete repackaging. So we just launched a sale for our metal vessel, but our metal vessel is officially retiring. And we're getting new boxes and a new vessel for the candles. So those are kind of
have we unveiled the vessel, or is there an unveiling coming?
There's an unveiling coming.
By the way, in full disclosure to the audience, I took part in the Clear the Metal Vessel sale today because I love New Savant. I'm not a paid influencer. I actually buy at retail and on sale. I take advantage. But I went kind of crazy today. I told the ladies before we started, buying my favorite scents, but then also trying some new ones.
Amazing. Which ones did you get?
Well, okay, I'll tell you my favorites because we've talked about this. You know, Mixed Feelings and Architect's Daughter are like the ones that constantly are burning in my house. And first off, I love the scent, but I think I love the story so much, Ingrid, behind those two. But I bought some new ones. Wait, is there one that's called Hellhound or something like that? Or
Hellbound Heart.
Hellbound Heart. Yes. Okay. Okay, not Hellhound. That would have been a good one. Hellbound, yeah. Hellbound Heart.
I'm the only one who thinks it's Hellhound.
Okay.
So
I was like, Hellbound Heart. I bought that one. I bought some of the summer ones. You had the cute little bundle of the 4 fragrances. For $99, listeners. I don't know if it's still going to be on when this comes out, but yeah. I mean, I think that's all of them. But I tried some new ones too. You know,
I love that.
Great.
I mean, I love your scents, and we're not going to assume everybody saw or heard the first episode. So we're going to talk again about how you develop the scents and the French and all that, because they're so good. I mean, they're so unique. And I know the stories. I don't know the stories behind Hellhound Heart. Oh, Future Lover. I bought that one too. Because I had the mist of that. And I love the mist so much that I was like, I need the candle of that.
Yeah, the candle's really
good.
Oh,
Dream Girl too.
Ooh, mm-hmm. Also,
see, it's all coming. See, I still have a memory. It wasn't that long ago that I hit purchase, but all right. So new packaging. The vessel has not been unveiled. New pricing. You also took on investors since we saw you because you were on the investor roadshow, kind of, right, Erica? I mean, like you were pitching, right?
Yeah, we did. We brought on 2 or 3 new angel investors. So that was a big help to us, both in terms of who the investors are as people and executives in the world giving us advice. And then obviously the capital of building a CPG business is, it's just necessary having capital. So those investors last year really helped us to take some chances. As Ingrid was saying, I mean, we really had to figure out what the roadmap is for a brand like ours to grow today that is primarily e-commerce online with a growing retail presence. And, you know, Ingrid's right. When we started off this new year, 2026, we really all right, we did a lot of experiments last year in Q3 and Q4, and some worked and some didn't. And so how do we, you know, really the question was like, how do we use every single dollar intentionally? The doors have not opened to big VC investment, which is a blessing in disguise because we know what can happen to like VC and PE backed companies where you just talk about the je ne sais quoi. Like it really just becomes, we know, like, you know, we're trying to build businesses. So
ROI.
Yeah, right. ROI. But we're still in the phase. We just really had to recognize we're still very much in the phase of brand storytelling, flywheel, designing our flywheel, executing the flywheel. And so, you know, in Q1 of this year, we did make changes. We, you know, had to like really get very lean again. And then I started really investing my time in learning how to use Claude Code and using Claude AI on the back end on some of the more heavier, more complex operational tasks, analysis. That is very overwhelming. So I think it's a good time to be a 2 or 3 person startup if you have the appetite to learn how to use AI. So that's been a little bit, but we're, you know, very intentionally protecting the creative from AI, but I've found AI to actually be quite useful. So we just have had to really like reset, get back to the brand. It's almost like perfect timing though, because like Ingrid said, we made the candles, we made the product here in Brooklyn for 4 years. And then last year was the transition year. And now we're like through that transition. And so now it's a little bit of a resettling, reconnecting, new packaging, new introduction, meeting more scent lovers. And Ingrid just went to perfume school, really like leaning into the Diaz and Durga aspect of our brand, which is we just want to create really interesting, different, clear, personal scents. And that's what we've been doing, working with Givaudan. And so, you know, that's what we're trying to stay focused on. And, but like the realness of running a business is it's real. It's real.
Okay, Ingrid, where was it is a full context sport. Ingrid, where was perfume school? In France or here?
Yeah, in Paris. So Givaudan invited me and a few other people, as a really small group, to their perfumery school, which is located just on the outskirts of Paris. And I spent a week there and learned so much. I mean, we were smelling at minimum 75 different raw materials every single day. And I was just in heaven. It was like from 9 to 6, and I was like fully engaged for all 9 hours of.
You got a diploma.
I did. I did.
That is an honor. She is underselling this. That is an honor because first off, you guys know I love scent and I love French scent. And I know the heritage and history of the French scent business and we talked about this last time, the families that have been doing this forever. And it's like passed down. It's like winemaking, right? It's like passed down generation to generation. And Ingrid, you have a nose. I mean, whether you realized it or not, like you had a nose and you had the ability to differentiate, like, okay, mixed feelings when you talked about, I want the smell of cooked rice. Like, I mean, you, not only did you have a nose, you had a very vivid imagination and that storytelling mind, and you pushed the perfumers, but they loved that about you. And then to invite you over there and, okay, so did you get headaches by the end of the day? I think I would be overwhelmed by all that. I think I would be like, did you smell coffee in between? What's the trick when you're smelling?
No, it's smelling yourself. So like a lot of people will just smell like the inside of their arm.
Wow.
You just need like
so you don't wear any scent that day yourself. You're just basically smelling your body.
I personally don't. I think everybody operates, differently, but I prefer not to wear anything that is scented just so it doesn't interfere. And you can also, we were in a room and it helps to like leave the room too and just kind of like refresh yourself and then go back in and keep smelling stuff. But no headaches at all. And it was so much fun because it was my first time creating fragrances from scratch where you're actually taking individual molecules and putting them together and understanding how they go together. So we learned how to replicate like a rose from the garden outside. We had to try and replicate the smell of our specific rose as closely as possible, molecule by molecule. And then we did the same thing with a strawberry. And then we did something similar with an existing scent on the market where they gave us the base notes, but we had to try and figure out what the top and middle notes were.
Okay, but this is why you work, because Erica's like, like,
like, cool. I want to learn like the 101.
You're in the meantime, you're learning Claude code, and she's recreating strawberries. I love that about you two. Like that.
I know. Like putting little droppers, weighing out.
And it was like you were doing like base note, mid note, top note stuff, right? Like that stuff. Wow. Yeah. Okay, that's incredible. So did you find in all those raw materials, did you find a new raw materials that you were like, I never thought I would like this? And then you're like, I like fungus. I like black oak. I don't know. I don't even know what they are, but
at this point, I feel like there really isn't anything that I expect to dislike because I try to approach everything with an open mind. But I did find some molecules that I really loved. And the first one that I fell in love with is called Ionone Beta. And it kind of smells like petally and like freesia flowers. But I just really loved that. Like whenever I would smell it, it just kind of like tickled my senses in just the right way. So I was, when we were doing the rose, I was like trying to up the amount of the Ionone Beta, but we were trying to like stick to a real rose. So I had to like.
You couldn't use your imagination.
Yeah, I had to rein myself.
Storytelling, her magical rose. I love that for you. That is such a gift.
What was also really interesting is like we were smelling so many different things, you're bound to be anosmic to something. So especially when you get into the ambery type notes, like toxins and stuff, a lot of people are anosmic to those molecules. And that was really interesting. Like some people could smell them, some people couldn't. For me, some were like fainter than others. So usually perfumers will be anosmic to certain ingredients, and they just have to know what they're anosmic to. So if they use it in a formula, they have somebody else evaluating it, which I found fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah, I do too.
Probably translates to all of us that, when sometimes we get an email and they're like, I can't smell the cherry in this cherry forward candle. And it's like, maybe there's a reason that, everyone's nose is different. Do you think that's true?
Yeah. I mean, there are so many reasons why somebody might not smell it. One of them being like, maybe they can't smell like a particular molecule that is in there or a blend.
Interesting.
I think it's fascinating because for me, my side effect of COVID, I didn't get COVID until very late. Like I was like a 2023 COVID person. I was starting to think I was like the Incredible Hulk or something. Like I should have been like patient zero, like take my plasma because I'm somehow immune, because as you know, I live with a doctor. He had it twice and I still didn't get it. Right. So when I finally got it, unfortunately for me, my lingering side effect is sinus and nasal congestion, which affects my ability to smell. And I love smell. Smell is like my favorite scent. I mean, I don't want to lose any of them, or sense. I'm sorry. Smell is my favorite sense. I don't want to lose any sense, but that bothers me because my smelling is different post COVID. It's interesting. And there's certain, even fragrances, Joe loves fragrances too. And there's a couple of his, I'm like, you can't wear that one. Like, And I maybe used to like it. And now I'm like, I like all these other ones, but And I literally separated them on his shelf. Like I went through all of them and was like, these are the ones that does something to me. And it's funny you say, Ingrid, because it's usually very ambery, musky that I just don't react well to. Like I tend to be more fruity, floral, lighter. Like I can't handle those like oud. I'm not a big oud person.
Have you tried House of Beau? Oh, highly recommend House of Beau. 2 founders, two gay men in Miami Beach. They started this beautiful, beautiful brand, very fragrance forward, but there's just some incredible blends they've made.
I've got to look them up.
Yeah, check them out. They're carried pretty much everywhere now. They're blowing up, but like totally distinctive, beautiful scents. So,
wow, House Beau spelled how?
B-O.
Oh,
yeah.
But not B-O. House
B-A-O. B-O. Just B-O. Maybe a little mark over the O.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've talked about like you went off and taught yourself Claude Code. You did the repricing. The new packaging is coming. You're managing investors now. That's new. Are you still fundraising? I'm assuming yes, because entrepreneurs are always fundraising, right? Are you still?
Yeah, we're still, yes, definitely. We still have an amount that we're trying to raise for the next 12 months. And, we're trying to think about it differently, like in a creative way. Fundraising it's not been easy. Like capitalizing the business has not been easy for me. It's been tricky to know, like, if that's a result of, I think it's both of us present really well. We can articulate, tell the story. We have all the numbers backing us up, great stats. But I think, we had an advisor say to us last week, like, Erica, it's not like your performance, it's like access, so it's just not, so figuring out how to get in the right rooms. But the truth is, Jim, is like, we're running the business. We're trying to bring it back to profitability. We're trying to make the right growth investments. We're trying to be hyper aware of, $1 in, $2 out or more. And we're trying to expand the product line. excuse me, we're trying to expand the product line. We're trying to, just continue to build really strong fundamentals. So, I think I don't spend as much time as probably other founders do on fundraising, but, we'll see. We'll see. Like I do kind of believe that it's going to happen, but that we just have to build the business.
Well, and I think it's fair, Erica. I mean, we talked about it last time, and I know it's only gotten worse. I mean, the numbers for female founders' ability to raise money versus male founders is abhorrent. And then you add in the LGBTQ-ness of this all. And, the systems, no matter how hard we try, and listen, I'm an investor and I have VC friends and I have PE friends, and I know they're all trying, but the systems aren't built for you guys. I mean, they're not. And our community. And I think you're swimming upstream sometimes against it. I also think you're in the CPG space. Retail is really tough right now, particularly in the States. I mean, we never want to talk about it because it's that disconnect. I keep saying it's the disconnect between Wall Street and Main Street. Like everybody says, oh, the stock market is okay or whatever. And I'm like, the stock market, like 80% of the people in the United States have no investments in the stock market. And I more am like the Main Street now. And I'm the one who's like going to the grocery store and coming out with 2 bags and saying that was $120. Like, I mean, people are feeling the pain, and I can see it everywhere. And I can see it in discounting that's happening. Brands that have never had to discount before are discounting. And even like in the travel and hospitality space, I'm seeing discounts. So I know the economy is rougher than we're all talking about,
I think it's like, we won't really know for another a decade, right? Like what's going to happen to the new Savant with like the choices we've made, I think what this period has given to me, and I think Ingrid, both like individually as separate people and as co-founders, is a chance to reconnect with our North Star. And, when you don't get everything you want right away, right? When you have friction, when you have, right, like creativity constraints breeds creativity. For me, it's like getting back to the North Star of like, I want to build a business by queer people, for queer people, for anyone who has an inclusive mindset. I always want to change the way people think. That's why I was in news and, the information ecosystem for so long. I want to empower people. The new Savant is a vehicle to do that through fragrance and then through our storytelling. And so I feel like this period has brought me back to my why. And then like the stuff we're doing this month, like we're donating 100% of profits on our Pride bundle to Callan Lord Community Health Center, which is an organization that means so much to us. We're, backing and, working with a young filmmaker who has their first film premiering at Tribeca. It's a film called Something You Should Know About Me. It's a joyful trans rom-com. Everyone should see it. We're just like getting back to like what is, I think, important, I think to us, both of us individually. And, and then we'll see like if that authenticity, which we know is like the magic of building great brands, like great brands that didn't start just to exit, great brands that started to do something different and to put something creative in the world. Like that's, I think, what this period of challenge for me has like brought me back to. It's like there's no reason to do this if we're just looking for and I guess it's about like if we're just looking for the exit. It's really
if you're looking for the payday. And I think
for any potential investor that's listening, we do think that will lead to
that
opportunity.
I'm plugging. That's what this is for. This is coming out in Pride Month, end of June. Like anybody that's listening, please contact them. If you're in the investment space or you've considered being in the investment space, you're intrigued by the story, have the conversation with them. Please, 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 please. And Ingrid, for you, your North Star, I'm guessing, is the storytelling and the scent development, right? Is that what you had to get back to? Yes.
Yes. And also just I love knowing what the community is saying and thinking. And I've always, been in it, but I've really been asking more questions and asking people, to tell us what they think, just directly in an email. And they've really responded to that. So like those things are the parts that make work fun for me. And, finding different ways to tell the stories of the scents, and how do we keep the world going beyond the sale of a candle. So yeah, like those are the things that get me really excited. And a lot of the, changes that we have made are based off of things that we've heard over and over and over from our customers. And so we've seen, even just with lowering the prices and then telling people how we got to that point, people just loved it. We had so many people respond to that in such a positive way. And it was because they felt heard. And it wasn't necessarily they were saying, your candles are too expensive, we need you to lower our prices. We could just see it in the actions, in the data behind the scenes. And that led us to making this decision. And I think it was just so different in a sea of messages where brands are raising their prices. And I totally understand that. I completely understand why people have to raise their prices. We raised our prices for a reason, and we just happened to find, efficiencies. So we were able to lower them again. But a lot of businesses, like, that's not what traditional business advice would tell you to do. They would say, keep the higher price.
Yeah, once you're up, stay up, right?
Yeah, like take those extra profits.
Find new customers, churn through them. We've really been focused on, we have over 600 people that have bought like more than 11 times. It might even be higher than that. So 600 people have bought new Savant candles 11 times. Like, I was talking to the founder of another big company, Catbird, about like what they did in the early days. And like, it's these ways that you make people feel really good, and you are intentional about curating their experience and listening to them. And I think that's the exercise that we're every day doing reps on.
Yeah. And I love hearing you guys talk about that, because those are the people that I call like the raving fans, right? Like that inner circle. And you concentrate on that circle, and then you go out another circle, and then you go out another circle. And that's how you build community. But you build community and you build loyalty. And I do think it's interesting, Ingrid, with your whole past and how long you've been building community and sharing stories. I mean, that's how you did it when you were doing makeup tips from your bedroom 15 years ago or whatever it was now. I hate to date us, but you did that. And I think that is the way. And I do think, Erica, you mentioned it earlier, but like, I think that authenticity and staying true to yourself does pay off. It doesn't always pay off immediately. And you have to have a long-term view on it. So I applaud you guys for that, but I get it. I get it. So the vessel change, did the vessel change come from you guys or from the community? Like, what made you think vessel update?
This was an economic decision. Like, cost of metal is going up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Metal is more expensive than glass by far. And we fought it for a long time. We felt like it was very, there's a aesthetic to it. There's a visual distinction to it that we loved. But as we continue to grow, like, we really had to take a hard look at, like, is this the right packaging to help us scale, or is it time to make a shift? And so we looked around, we tested a bunch of stuff. We talked to a lot of people, and we ultimately landed on the new vessel that is, simple, and also like gives us the palette and the ability to grow while still having the super kind of creative ephemera that makes the new Savant around it. But it was
also combined with customer feedback over the years. So in our end of year surveys, we continuously asked people about the metal vessel and what they would think of like a glass vessel. And a lot of people wanted a glass vessel. The only thing that held them back was knowing that glass would be less recyclable. So we knew that this was a vessel change was something that people wanted, but we needed to land on a vessel that, you know, people could keep afterwards, that they could repurpose and use for drinking out of, or to like put makeup brushes in, whatever they want. If it wasn't going to have that recyclability like metal has. So that's, you know, really what informed the decision. Those two things put together, the price of metal going up, and then also just continuous feedback.
That's super, but that's logical. I mean, that's a very logical and well thought out process. And it's kind of like right brain, left brain analysis, right? I mean, you looked at the cost, you looked at the you know, what was happening in costing, but then you did listen to your community again. And so I think, yeah, I mean, that's kind of textbook. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, the scent that's in the vessel is still new Savant, right? I mean, I think that's the other thing too, is like, as long as the vessel provides literally a vessel to deliver the scent in the way that you wanted it, at the end of the day, I mean, I liked your metal container, but what I liked was in the metal container. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's what was your uniqueness and your differentiation. And so if I fell in love with, you know, Mixed Blessings, if I fell in love with Architect's Daughter, and now you said, well, now you get it in this, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I only like it in metal. Like that, you know, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. I mean, we're focused on building a fragrance library of really unexpected differentiated scents that can live in lots of mediums. And that's what I'd
say. You're a house. Yeah. You're a storytelling house of scents. You're not a house of vessels. You know what I mean? No, you know what I mean? But it's not, I mean, there are other people. I mean, if you were potters or, you know, ceramicists or something, that's different, but that's not your calling card. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I think it also works out too, because we were looking for a new bottle for our mists, and we found a bottle that really visually aligns with the new vessel, and the new bottle will allow us to do refills eventually. So it was just, you know, with anything, you have to like make certain compromises, but that was a big win because we felt like there was like, there visually, the mist and the candle were a little bit disjointed, and now they're going to feel more cohesive, and you're going to be able to refill the mist. So I feel like even though we had to like make some compromises, we're getting some like good wins in.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge. So in the last year, and you don't have to tell me gory details, but how has the founder partnership been? Like, have there been stressful moments? Have there been argument? Like, you don't have to give us everything, but I mean,
we call it our yearly fight in the woods.
Okay.
Yeah.
You save up for it? You save up for that? Like you schedule it?
No, we have lots of discussions, but
I don't know. We end up having like one big like argument that ends up happening outside for some reason. I don't know. Nature brings it out in us.
Walking next to each other makes it easier to have difficult conversations.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had any. We've had some hard moments. We had a really hard moment in, I would say, like November of last year. A really, really disappointing situation happened where I had overlooked an important detail, and it ended up derailing a collab that we were supposed to do. And you know, I took responsibility, but it was hard because it was like It was a deep disappointment that we both felt. Like I felt disappointed in myself. I know Ingrid was disappointed in me, like, you know, and ultimately we had to come together. I think Ingrid gave me grace. I gave myself grace that like mistakes are going to happen, and no one died. It was just like, we were doing a lot of things. And
it like was all happening right at the start of like Black Friday, where it was already just, complete madness. And then, so that wasn't an argument, but it was definitely a hard moment. I think we were, like you said, just disappointed and sad. And it's not fun to feel that way during the holidays.
And also, though, like, I will say the maturity of, like, we didn't take it out on each other and fight with each other over it. Like, I think that's like these things. I'm not going to say that like we both are the most emotionally mature people, but we work really hard on our emotional maturity and mental health. And so that's easily what happened was easily one of those things that could have devolved into a pointing fingers, getting mad at each other. And instead we like had a moment of complete disappointment. We're like, let's sync tomorrow with our advisor who's going to help us get through this. And, we each kind of went back to our own corners and like dealt with our feelings about it. And then came back. Remember Ingrid reached out to me like the next day and was like, I'm disappointed, but like not in you. It's like in the situation, let's just move through this. So
but that is mature. I mean, that's even mature feedback. The next day is the situation's disappointing. You're not disappointing. I mean, that's maturity. But I also think you guys, and I do know you guys, I mean, you are very self-aware and you do work on your mental health and you do work on your personal and professional relationship. And I think that's great. I mean, because I think being a founder is hard enough, but being co-founders is really hard, right? I mean, and, in a lot of ways, two heads are better than one, but there's sometimes two heads aren't better than one. So I want to go back to this walk in nature. Is it a planned thing or is it a spontaneous thing that it just happened?
No, it just kind of ends up happening this way. I think it's because we're outside, no one else is around, you're walking side by side, and like things will just
come up. Yeah.
And I think in the safety of nature with no one else around, you feel like this freedom. And for some reason, it has like always happened, just like in nature, like one annual event where we will like put our grievances on the table. And then after we like get it all out, then we're fine. But yeah, it just ends up.
That's a good lesson. I mean, there's a lesson in that. I mean, that's a good lesson.
Well, I think there's space. Like, I think there's a lot of kind of deeper themes of like nature being able to hold space and like timelessness and, context and, life, like being in a physical space like that. We live in New York City. So to find our way into nature is special and intentional. And yeah, I also think that it is just a moment of connecting a lot of threads of things that we have had talked about in previous conversations over the previous few months. And like, I think the special thing about our relationship, at least for me, it's like one of the most special relationships I have in my life is there is space to be upset with each other, to be disappointed with each other, but to know that we're not going to walk out of each other's lives. And so that feels like, oh, okay, I can say this thing to Ingrid that I'm like really upset about. And I can say it in a way that is kind, compassionate, and caring. And
truthful.
And she can do the same thing for me. And like, neither of us are perfect, obviously. Like I haven't built a CPG business before. Ingrid, just learning to do the aspects of your job you're learning to do. But like, we're new savants. This is the untraditional stuff.
You are new savants. I love it because I think there's a lot of life and leadership lessons in there, Erica and Ingrid, in that, I think especially for those of us from marginalized communities, I know for me, like I was hunting and when you find it, it's amazing. I was always hunting for people that accepted me unconditionally, right? Like I grew up feeling wrong, different, broken, and that I was loved conditionally. Like, and I'm not besmirching my parents, but if I got good grades, if I did good at the swim meet, like I felt like I was more accepted, that might have been all in my mind, but I definitely felt it. And I think with everything you guys have been through and watching you guys, you have an unconditional acceptance of each other and friendship. And at different points in your life, it had different intensities and things, but you do accept each other unconditionally. I see it. And you understand what each other's good and not good at. And we all have strengths and developmental opportunities. We all have strengths and weaknesses. And when you have a relationship like that, you know, it took me a long time to get, I mean, thank God I've got a marriage that's like that now, but it took me a long time to get there. It is so cherished. Like, it is so precious. You've got to feed it and nurture it, but it doesn't mean it's always happy. It doesn't mean, you know, unconditional doesn't mean, you know, everything's peaceful and joyful and happy all the time. But I love when you said, I delivered feedback with kindness and compassion and respect. I wasn't attacking, right? And I was able to separate the person from the action. I was able to separate the person from the impact. I mean, that's grown-up shit. That's some grown-up shit right there. And you got to hold on to that, because here's the thing. 10 years from now, who knows where New Savant's going to be? I know where I want it to be. 10 years from now, you guys are still going to be friends. I mean, that's the thing that matters, right? Mm-hmm. And whatever path New Savant goes on, you guys will handle it together. Mm-hmm. And as the elder, you know, I can tell you how important that is. I mean, because that's when you get to my age, you get into your 60s, like, it's about quality and not quantity, you know, and you'll hold on to that. And yeah, I personally think New Savant I already think it's a success story, and I know how hard you're working at it. I think it's only going to get better. But if it doesn't, for whatever reason, you guys will still have your friendship. That's huge.
And this makes me want to give Ingrid a hug. Just want to like say that. Oh,
I'm not just saying it because of pride. I really know it. I've been in rooms with you guys. Like, you know, you can feel it. It's tangible.
I think ultimately, like, in my life, when I have had a looser grip on relationships, on work, on friendships, I have better outcomes. And so I think
you are my reformed control freak, my dear.
Yeah, and I am still a control freak, you know. And
I always be too.
Yeah, but like and so like loosening, you know, focusing on building this incredible relationship, being good to each other, being good to customers, being good to the people that work with us. You know, having a loose grip on like the outcome of the business. Again, we know where we want and think it can go. But like being really creative about the ways that we lean into opportunities. You know, I think this is like, I've been thinking a lot about this idea of like the new American dream. You know, I think as a small business owner, you know, my dad, if I can do a little side note, my dad and my uncle had a small business growing up, and I always looked at it as, that's nice, but I want to get out of Indiana. and I want to be like my uncle, who is an executive of a big corporation. And, you know, these past 6 years have taught me I can't walk down the city in New York City anymore without looking at storefronts of independent businesses being like, wow, who did that? That's hardcore. To run a business, keep it going is so punk rock. It's so hard to do. And I've been thinking about this idea of like the tradition. There's a lot of traditional American dreams, but like this one of being your own boss, having the autonomy to run your own business. And I really feel like I'm getting to learn about that firsthand, fight for it, understand the realities of how hard it is, and you only learn through doing. But I feel like I'm fighting for our version of the American dream of having autonomy, putting work into the world that is on our terms and doing it for others. And, you know, obviously, like, I'm now going to fight to do it as long as I can.
Yeah, totally. Well, and you guys, and making a difference. I mean, I think when you talk about the Callan Lord program, the donation right now, and you guys have done charitable things from the beginning. I mean, and making a difference in the community. And I was thinking when you were talking, you know, and you know, we talked in the first time we did the podcast about the scent development, and, you know, a lot of them coming from like Ingrid's life and the story and the architect's daughter and all that. But, you know, I often think about like when you go to restaurants, especially when you travel and like you just have some amazing meal and then you find out that that's like a family restaurant. It's like Nana's recipe, right? That's Nana's sauce, right? Yeah. Or Oma's sauce, like whatever the name is for grandma, right? In that language. And And they always say, like, when you always say, like, what are the ingredients? Like, they list the ingredients, and then there's always that ingredient of love, right? And like, you can taste the love in the food. I feel that same way in the scents you create, right? Like you guys know, like, I'm not being oogie googie here. Like, that relationship and your commitment to each other and your commitment to our community and your commitment to making a difference in the world comes out in the scent. It's not just that the scent is beautiful. There's lots of people that make beautiful scents. I mean,
I've been talking about this more, but I really do think that you can feel the provenance of a scent.
Yeah.
So if you smell something that is just, thrown into the market and like it's a good scent, like great perfumers worked on it, but there was like no soul behind it.
Yes.
You can feel it when you smell that. Versus when you smell something that is embedded with so many layers of story and intention. And it may not even be something that I personally want to wear or have in my home, but I feel it. Yeah. And I think that's what makes such a difference.
100%. Yeah. And it takes people time to find it. It takes people time to enjoy that. People learn at different paces, and that's where you have to have the financial backers and the investors and stuff, the wherewithal to have a little bit of that grace you talked about earlier, but like the patience to let it develop as well. Part of when I did my purchase today, I was thinking these will be great gifts. That's huge because that means I will gift it to people who will then be like, oh, what's this that they gave us? Right. And I will tell them why I chose that candle for them. Right. And I think that's, where the concentric circles keep growing. I know how hard you guys are working. It's fine. We appreciate it.
Yeah. By the way, you made me think of, I've talked to Paul Kane about this, but, I think you mentioned like Ben and Jerry's to me once. We were talking about Ben and Jerry's and how Ben and Jerry's has made decisions over the course of its lifetime to continue to do the more expensive thing, which is to put more of the good stuff in
cream,
and the fish food and and it's like that is the kind of I don't exactly know where they're at.
They got sold to corporate and now they're buying it back for this very discussion.
But it's that stuff that matters. And so anyways, really glad that you can like feel that.
I mean, and I feel like, okay, like there's so many things I'm thinking about, like what can I do? There's more, I can do more. I gotta do more. But I was thinking about like when you were talking about, I don't want to keep bringing up House of Beau, but I'm just using them as an example.
I would bring them again. It's a very soulful brand.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, but I almost feel like that's where, what's the enabler to gather a community of brands like that, right? I mean, and it doesn't have to all be scent brands, right? I mean, Joe, my husband, is obsessed. I'm doing another plug. I'm going to get something out of it. Jenny's ice cream. He's obsessed with Jenny's ice cream, right? I love ice cream too. I think Jenny's ice cream, it's still small enough. It's still handmade-y tasting enough. I think the flavors are so intentional. Ingrid, it reminds me of you, right? Because it's like lemon blackberry crunch, right? Like they're very unique flavors. And you kind of read them and you're like, ooh, is that going to work? And then you taste it and you're like, this is the best lemon blackberry crunch ice cream I've ever had. And I needed it. And I think there's like, maybe you're right with this new American dream, or it's also about like, what are the motivators and what's the passion and why are you in business in the first place? It's that.
It's very counterculture. I think it is actually true. The great creations always come from a place of what is missing, what is the white space creatively, and what can we put out there. But I think that in the age we're in, for all the reasons we know, which is, knowing that like our lives are going to look very different than from our parents, knowing that like AI is going to upend everything that we do, knowing that like, big brands are just throwing commodification down our throats. It's like just last week, the biggest, or whenever this is recorded, and the last weekend of May, the biggest blockbuster weekend for 2 movies that were made by Gen Z creators that outperformed, was it Star Wars?
Yeah, them and Marvel. Yeah.
Because people are craving authenticity and something different. And so that is, Jenny's is another great example. And
I think, I think there's so many examples of that. And I think it's so funny because I have a really good friend who he'll know because I know he listens to this. I did a booth at Atlanta Pride last year. He's a crocheter. But he crochets the most amazing hats and scarves and vests and stuff. And he did them like in all these pride color. They like blew out. But I think there's also something about that handmade aspect of it. And I know you guys aren't hand pouring your candles anymore, but you were at one point.
It's still hand poured, just not by us.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're not doing it on your dad's ping pong.
It's not robots.
Right, exactly. No. I know it's not a robot. That's what I'm saying. I think there's something about, I talked to you guys about this before, is I think there's this return to curation, this return to special, this return to uniqueness, because I think it is the anti-commodification. And listen, I shop at Amazon. There's things, I don't care about commodification of my toilet paper, to be honest with you. Like those things, I don't care. I do care about commodification of things that are personal to me, like scent and the candles that I burn in my home and things like that. So, and I like knowing the story. I like knowing the story of the scent. I like knowing the story of the company. I like knowing the story of the founders, without being intrusive. I mean, you still have to have boundaries, but I think you're totally onto something. All right. We have a couple more minutes left. I should ask you guys, you can answer it together or singly, like Pride 2026. What does Pride 2026 mean to you, since we're a Pride episode?
Well, I feel like the theme for my year has been fun. That has been a very important word for me. And I've just wanted to have fun in everything that I'm doing. So I'm going to apply that to Pride this year.
That's good. Yeah. Fun.
I think for me, risk and courage. So I remember when I came out 20 something years ago, it felt so scary.
Yeah.
I was terrified, right? Like stepping off the cliff. Will I be loved? Who will still be in my life after that? Obviously, I got the firsthand experience then of being on the other side of that, how light and how beautiful the experience was for me. And I know for other people too, it can be. But like that idea of taking a risk, of being scared, it's bringing that back into this and remembering that, the risk of, I don't actually think it's a risk to support trans rights at all. I think it's the right thing to do. But I think like collaborating with my friends who have these beautiful projects or, work going on. I think that it's not a risk, but it's just like courage. Like, let's just support each other. Let's not be afraid. And, I
mean, I do think there is a level of risk when you,
we did.
When you speak about these things publicly, especially environment where it's not going to be,
universally accepted.
Exactly. I do think we're in a moment where it is riskier to talk about these things. To be openly supportive of these values that so many people are trying to erase and take away.
100%. And erase rights, erase history. I think you guys are right. I mean, fun, risk, courage. My word for this Pride is resilience, which I think goes right in with it. And I think it's about flexibility and nimbleness and strength, like resilience, like bending and flexing, because we have to your point, Erica. It's not the same world it was 2 years ago. It's not the same world it was 3 years ago. I think even in my own business, I've had to pivot and change and be resilient to find the right clients to work with, to find the right speaking opportunities. I think it's why I launched this podcast, because it was something I could control. It's why I'm writing another book. It's something I could control. I love it. It should be fun because Pride is also a celebration and remembering our history and those that came before us. So I think that's a great set of words. Well, I love spending time with you guys. It's unbelievable. All the show notes will have the new savant.com. It is not hard to find, people, but the new Savant. I wish you all the best. Happy Pride. Thank you guys for doing this. I'm thinking of ideas. I'm thinking of what I can do to help. I just feel like I'm always so stimulated and invigorated by this, but I got to think. I'm wearing Linus today because he gives me comfort, by the way.
Oh, I love Linus.
I know. I have to tell you, this sweatshirt, which is literally one of those throw-on sweatshirts that I love because it's so comfortable, gets more comments in public than anything else I wear. Like,
I'm sure.
Like, people love the peanuts. People love Linus. They love they get it because that's like safety, right? That's like
tenderness,
comfort. Like, I was like, I had to wear it today. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you, Ingrid, Erica. Thank you, New Savant. Go make the world smell beautiful. Can't wait to see the vessel unveil. I'm excited.
It's coming soon.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for spending this time with us on Ask for an Answer. If this conversation sparks something for you, don't just nod and move on. Take one idea, one question, one uncomfortable and bring it into your next meeting, your next one-on-one, or your next big decision. That's how this becomes a practice, not just a podcast. If you're leading a team, a classroom, a company, or just your own next chapter, you don't have to have it all figured out. You do have to be willing to listen, to ask better questions, and to create the kind of safety where people will actually tell you what they see. If this episode was useful, share it with someone who's in the arena with you. And if you want more tools, stories, and real talk leadership moments, make sure you follow the show and leave a review so others can find us. I'm Jim Fielding. Thank you for being here, for leading with less armor and more intention. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep asking for an answer.